I'm not too bad. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I
You're
like
in
the set.
America now. It's been eight. Like, you know what? It feels like not that long ago, but it has been ages.
Yeah, it does. It's that long, like nearly 3 years now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's mad. It's crazy. A lot's happened. I mean, we haven't even spoke since the Commonwealth. So Commonwealth Games is the first thing we ever spoke about.
Yeah, yeah. Been crazy, crazy couple of years from the start.
Well, start off at the start, because I mean, the Commonwealth Games, you haven't talked about that yet. That's way, way ago for you, but I don't know anything yet.
Yeah. What do you want to know? Well, it was so we'll start off with we started the camps, didn't we? So I was in America and I was living in Pennsylvania. You knew that I was already over there in Pennsylvania. And then I was staying with a friend, and uh, I got a call that I had to be somewhere for like a meeting thing with I think it was ITV News. Um, so I had to get like a flight back from Pennsylvania within like a week.
I saw
And
that. I saw the ITV News video. I watched it.
yeah, yeah, and then it just spiraled from there. It was in like 4 or 5 countries before the Commonwealth, like just non-stop packing our bags, leaving, going here, going there. And then I got really ill before the Commonwealth at a camp. I was in Scotland, and I got like I don't know whether it was like the flu or something, but I was so ill. And I had to like leave the camp early to go home and just recover because it was like, it wasn't that long out from the Commonwealth. It was a nightmare, but I got through it in the end and we got to the Commonwealth.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you got there, I was watching it live, and I saw the video you're walking in. Like the energy there was crazy. Well, that was that a new experience, that sort of level of competition. Because I mean, you look so ecstatic to be walking in. I remember the video of you in the red jacket.
Yeah, yeah, it was incredible. It was interesting, like walking out into the opening ceremony and like feeling the crowd and the energy behind like Team England. Unfortunately, it wasn't the same case when we was in the actual arena for the wrestling, but when the opening ceremony was going on, it was an amazing experience. Just the crowd and like the chanting and like everyone was there to support England. You know what I mean? So it was crazy. It was crazy.
I mean, we can get onto the thing about your opponent in a second, but in general, excluding that situation, how do you think you did in the Commonwealth? Because obviously that situation was a different thing altogether. But
So I'm not really spoke about this, but it was an interesting experience to say the least. We had a I have to be careful what I'm saying, Cameron, but we had a the leader of our team, England team. He was well, let's just say we had the wrong person guiding us to the Commonwealth Games journey. Not Team England. This is separate from Team England. This is Team England wrestling. So the person who was supposed to guide us through the Commonwealth journey as Team England wrestling was the wrong person. They had the wrong person for the job. So that made that experience for me quite difficult. Luckily, I had a good friend who's a bit older than me that help guide me through stuff. I was still 19 years old. That was Sid says Salami. He'll see this, so big up to Sid. Yeah, he helped me guide through the journey. He'd done a Commonwealth. He won third in the last Commonwealth Games. So helped get me through that journey, prepare me and stuff. I think the preparation could have been better if we had more of more better guidance, someone who actually cared about the athletes, like our wrestlers. I think that could have been um, implemented. But overall, I just stuck to what I knew that I needed to do. And I think competition wise, the match went so. I felt the pressure. It was walking out, it was like completely new to me. So like in the match I was really tense and I didn't wrestle like I knew I could wrestle. I was just so tense because I felt like I had so many people, so many eyes were watching. You know what I mean? So it was like the pressure, and I was just so intense. So I wasn't thinking about what I was doing. I started off well, but I just made a stupid mistake and then got caught really, and that's what wrestling does to you. Just one mistake can cost you the whole match. And the guy was abnormally strong for some reason.
So what is it you can't talk about? You can't talk about the coach. I know you can talk about that situation because it's already published, but is there anything you can say? Not the coach, the guy that was guiding you. Is there anything you can elaborate on that, or is that as much as you can say?
I'm not sure what I can say, so that's why I'm being careful. But uh, as for that, it's just I don't know whether it's out of jealousy or spite. I don't know. I was 19 years old. I don't think people like the fact that I was so young and doing so much at that age because they wasn't doing as much as that when they was my age. You know what I mean? So I think that played a big factor in it. I just don't think they liked the fact that I was so young and doing the same thing as they was doing. You know what I mean? So, but that's their personal issues. I'm a person, I don't let that stuff bother me. Like, you want to be spiteful, you want to be, you act like you want to act. I'll do my own thing. And that's what I did with the Commonwealth. I prepared, I got myself mentally ready. I had a good friend there with me, helping me through the process. So, other than that, that's on them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Well, the thing you said about abnormally strong now, that's a whole other topic we could talk about. Because when you said about it, I looked it up. So you fire away with the facts on that.
Yeah, so as I said, abnormally strong guy I had first. He got me in what we call a leg lace in wrestling, and I was not stopping that thing. Let's say that. So yeah, everything was fine. I didn't know I didn't know what was happening. I came off. I took the loss like anyone else would. It's another thing in life. You go back to your normal life, don't you? That's an unfortunate thing. You go back to your normal life after Commonwealth Games. Your life doesn't change. You're just the same. 2 weeks later, everyone's forgot about the Commonwealth. No one cares. You know what I mean? You're 1 minute you're the star, next minute I don't know anything. You know what I mean? So anyway, yeah. A month later, 2 months later, I I can't remember how I got the notification, but I found out that the guy had been doping, and what's his name? It was like I was reading online, and it's on like the Times of India and stuff, and that I'm sure that's like one of the top 10 news articles in the world or something. Like it's huge.
Unsure. I mean, there's a lot of population, so you'd think so.
Yeah, like so I'm reading this, and it's like Ali Assad banned for doping. Next minute, I read that he's got his medal stripped. So the problem is, I lost to this guy in the first round, right? He went on to wrestle. I can't remember what the country was. He went on to wrestle someone else in the second round, who I know for a fact that I could have beat. Like, I know that for a fact. In the third round, in the semi-finals, he came against Ravi Kumar, who was one of the best in the world at the time. I'm not sure if he's wrestling anymore, but he was Olympic silver medalist, one of the best at my weight in the world. So he lost to him, and it was a close match. He lost to him. And then in the bronze medal match, the New Zealand guy who was in our side of the bracket hadn't had a single match all tournament, right? Didn't wrestle anyone. Got automatically wrestled in the bronze medal match and lost to Ali Assad. I could have absolutely demolished this New Zealand guy. Anyway, 2 months later, I'm reading these articles. Pakistan stripped of bronze medal. Next minute, I read the New Zealand guy got gifted the bronze medal.
Ah,
So I'm like, what? So it just like, and the problem is, right? I I don't understand how you can let an athlete get away with it, turn up to the tournament, wrestle, and 2 months later then ban him. It makes zero step. Like there's just no. explanation for it. Also, what I don't like is the fact of how quiet these like how quiet they kept it. I heard nothing from no one about this. I didn't get any notifications personally. I have found out from a frigging news article in India. You know what I mean? I didn't get an email saying, just to let you know, this guy's been banned for, you know what I mean?
Well, they
Banned
should
for,
because it's your safety, isn't it? You're the one competing against them.
yeah, yeah, I agree. And it's like, I don't know, like how different would that tournament have been if he wasn't there? You know what I mean? Or if he wasn't doping. The match could have gone completely different way if that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, bronze medal, and you'd have probably had the momentum then to go to the next one from winning that. So
For sure, 100% agree. And yeah, I think the main thing is it's wild to me how quiet they keep things like that from getting out there, you know? Um, I think it's a topic that should be spoke about more often because too many athletes are getting away with doping. Like they're always just one step ahead of the doping panel, you know what I mean? Like they're creating things, the doping people find it, then they create a new thing, doping people. It's all so complex, but what can you do, you know what I mean?
no, it's a rough situation. I mean, they definitely should speak about it more. I guess it does put a bad reputation on the sport though if they share things like that too much.
I agree. I agree. It would put a bad reputation on the sport, but it happens so often that if it's not spoken about, it's just going to keep happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
They, they think they can get away with it over and over again because no one's telling them they can't. You know what I mean?
There's something you said before about going back after the Commonwealth and how weird it is. I want you to elaborate on that because that's really interesting. Like what it's like for an athlete to go in such a world stage and then go back to their normal life and it's like nothing changed. It must feel really weird.
Yeah. So that's a big side with the social media stuff I'm doing, but we'll get onto that later. I think
Yeah.
the problem with wrestling in the UK is the people who like run like the governing body of wrestling, they have no idea how to market wrestling. They don't know what they're doing. It's a simple fact. They have no idea what they're doing. They don't know how to market. They don't know how to use social media properly. They don't have a social media. Well, whether they do or they don't know how to promote wrestling. It could wrestling in the UK, especially with the UFC, how big the UFC's got, and how more aware people are of wrestling, the sport of wrestling. UK wrestling, we're one of the like richest countries in the world. We should be miles like ahead of where we are now. You know what I mean? It's insane. Anyway, speaking of going back after the Commonwealth, I'm getting off track because
That's
I've not
fine. You can go off track. It's fun.
I've not spoken in 2 years. I need to let some steam off. So yeah, like going like so the Commonwealth finished, and so the Commonwealth finished, and I just said bye to my friend and just left. I don't know. I don't know. I wanted to spend time with my family, you know, because I've been surrounded by people. I don't know. I had to spend time with people who I didn't necessarily want to spend time with. Do you know what I mean? So I was happy to go, leave my leave the arena, get my stuff from the village, and just go and spend time with my family and my friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
But it was crazy. Like 1 minute you're like, wow, I'm in the arena, and you've got all these thousands of people supporting you. Everyone's looking at you, and then next minute you're on the way home in your car with your friends, and you're just like, what just happened? You know what I mean? It's all
Well,
over.
surely your social media had some sort of increase, did it not?
It did, but not to what you'd think. It had again like a couple of thousand, I think, followers, and the people you know that this is a big thing that I noticed. The people you know people say it all the time, but the people you know will support you for when something like that's happened, they'll support you. I was getting like on a Facebook post, I would post like just letting people updated. They'd get 200 likes on a Facebook post, loads of reactions, loads of comments. A month later, 25 likes, two comments. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
They just want to support you and be part of that train while it's happening, and then the next minute they don't support you.
It's a weird one. I think that's why it's gonna be a lot more interesting on the path you're on now,
Yeah.
because it's one of those ones where I think MMA as a sport is one of those where people long term support people. They don't just support them in an event. Wrestling, I guess, you have lots of smaller events, then you have big ones every now and again.
Yeah.
Whereas MMA, people seem to follow longer term, which is something we need to talk about. Obviously, you're on a new path now, doing your MMA. I mean, first off, I remember in the last interview you said you were going to do that. So it's not why did you do that? Because you said you were going to do that. But how did that come about where you are now, the gym you're in now, etc.?
So I moved to Georgia in the United States to wrestle in college. Um, I did a semester, which is like a half term or whatever you call. I don't know what you call it in the UK now.
So say it's the same as uni. They call them
Yeah, it's
semesters.
like a semester, and it weren't a bad experience. I jumped on the first opportunity I saw and went D2 to some like school in the middle of the country, and I got there. It was all right. It was different, but it was so boring. And the problem with the school was like there's a different way of coaching over here. Unless you're a top school, well, this is what it feels like to me. Unless you're a top school, a lot of these like D2, D3 schools, they try and break you rather than build you because the some of the coaches have not as much knowledge as like the higher level coaches. It's more like we'll break you to build you up type of thing. And I don't know, the style of coaching doesn't suit to me. I need to learn. I'm in a place to learn, you know what I mean? And my previous coaches who I had was uh, like they took a different approach, so it was so different. Like it weren't a fact of like I couldn't do it. It was fine, but like as for growth, and I'm trying to compete at like world championships, stuff like that outside of it, it was like, what have I got to do next? You know what I mean? And it was so boring the place I was in. It was like in the middle of the countryside. I prefer cities, you know what I mean? So after like a year, I was just like, okay, I met Avery, my girlfriend, and we wanted to move somewhere. So I was looking at different colleges, thinking of transferring, or I was thinking of going training out of a club like club team. And then I decided I wanted to move to Orlando for some strange reason. So I found like a college in Orlando, well, a university, the same thing over here, colleges and university. So I found one over here in Orlando. So I applied for it and then I got in. So next minute we're moving to Orlando and I'm like, where am I going to wrestle? So I'm like looking, where can I wrestle here? There's a few places to wrestle here, but I don't know. I got here and I was like, I'm gonna go and try this MMA gym. So I went to this MMA gym close by, and we was living in an Airbnb at this point until we found a real apartment. And I found a gym. I went to the gym and I started enjoying like the jiu-jitsu and like the striking and stuff. It wasn't really a heavy MMA gym, but it was just like I was enjoying it. Anyway, I met like a coach called Dre. Um, he started like helping me and stuff, and then long story short, I moved downtown Orlando, so now I've got an apartment downtown, and there's a gym next door called the Jungle MMA, which is my team who I've been with since January now, and since then I've been working. That's who I did my debut fight with, and I've got great coaches, Mike Lee and Alec Brooks. They're great coaches, a great team.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know the name of it. I didn't know Orlando either. Maybe Disneyland made you want to go there. But I mean, that's the only thing I can think of is in Orlando, to be honest. But obviously, it's a whole new path, MMA and wrestling. They're two very different things. I mean, if someone doesn't know, they won't seem that different, but they're polar opposites. So with the path you're on now, does it not feel it feels like a totally different sport, surely? Obviously the wrestling you can use, but the striking, mixing it all together, it's a whole different ball game entirely.
Yeah, it is, but I really like it. I don't know. So the thing about college was it was folk style wrestling. I hated folk style wrestling. That was one of the main reasons I moved. I forgot to mention that. I hated folk style wrestling. So being a freestyle wrestler, it's very different. But since I've done like MMA and stuff, my I think I'd be better at folk style wrestling than I was at freestyle wrestling. Um, because of the like jujitsu and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I enjoy mixing it up. It's so because I wrestled for 17 years. It's so interesting, like mixing up punching and stuff. And I did box for a few years when I was younger. So like being able to like obviously I'm not a boxer, but I have like natural movement for someone who's never done combat, like as in that type of striking stuff, you know what I mean? So it comes more natural to me. So I'm a quick learner really. And yeah, I just love mixing it up. I enjoy getting punched.
I mean, you get there's that thing that I read about where obviously as a wrestler you have that power in your legs anyway. Like
Hmm.
I remember that video of your like overhand.
Yeah, yeah,
It's like a Khabib kind of overhand, but you can see where the power comes from. Like if you think of someone like Michael Chandler, obviously he's got really strong legs because you're always in a more like wrestling style stance, you get more power. But I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
going from wrestling and the flow in that to getting hit in the face, like brutal shots from MMA, it must be different sort of damage you get as well from like obviously you're affected after a tournament in wrestling, but after MMA it must be a different thing. Or maybe you haven't seen that yet because you dominated the last guy, but
Ah, I did because I did get dropped. Well, we said dropped. I did a stupid thing. It was a good fight. I was in control. It was a weird one because I'm an orthodox. I'm sparring orthodoxies all the time. And then we didn't have any research on this guy that I was fighting. And then he gets in the cage. He's about fucking 6 foot, and he's a southpaw. So I'm like, here we go. You know what I mean? Because obviously I'm so used to sparring orthodoxy, and it's my first fight, and then this guy gets in a striker, southpaw. But yeah, I think as for like damage and stuff, I went for an inside trip. I don't know if you know what that is. For some
yeah,
reason,
yeah.
I was like I was like 2 meters away, and I went for an inside trip. And as I was here, he like kicked me in the face. But as I like fell down, I picked him back up and slammed him. It was a crazy heated moment. But I mean, I was kind of glad they called it a split decision. It wasn't a split decision. It was definitely not a split decision. It was unanimous. But you know what local MMA shows like dodgy.
Yeah, the judges are a bit weird.
Yeah. But I finished every round on top. I felt comfortable. I dropped him with the first punch I threw, and then I got very excited throughout the fight and started throwing overhands for some reason. I just My strike is a lot more clean than it was then, which I've been working hard on tightening up that stuff. But yeah, as for damages, after the fight, I had a fat thing from that kick in the face. That was only the real like damaging thing I took from him. But my hand took about 6 months to heal. I overhanded him, but I hit him like on the back of the head, and my hand was weird after that.
It was a good shot. I mean, I remember watching the thing on your Instagram of it. It was a good shot. Um, Obviously with this path though, you on wrestling you can rely a lot more on. Well, you said that it was handled badly, but usually if you're in a sport, you can rely a lot more on like the team posting and your social media and publicity coming from your team. Whereas in MMA, it's a lot more self-induced. So you have to obviously get your name out there. Like I was saying to you before, you have to get your name. The whole thing about MMA is your name is what gets you your fights and gets you further and gets
Yeah.
you publicity. So what's your plan for getting your name out there? Obviously, you have the former Team GB title. That's already big enough to be in America. That's a big thing. But what's your plan otherwise?
So In regards to sport or social media?
We'll start with sport and then we'll go on to
Okay.
social media.
So with sports, so for next year at least, I'm planning on fighting January 25th. That's some news for you. First one. No
Nice.
one knows about that yet, but January 25th, I plan on fighting. We've had a nightmare trying to find fights. That's one thing I'll tell you. We went through, I don't even know how many opponents trying to find a fight. But everyone was just saying no, which they're all posting about, oh, I'm the next big thing, but they don't frigging fight, you know what I mean? They just want the, but yeah, I want to fight January 25th, and then I just want to keep the ball rolling. I want to fight as much as possible. Um, we'll see how it goes with finding opponents. I might have to turn pro earlier than I wanted to because obviously I've still got so much learning to do. I'm not ready for pro yet. I don't think I'm ready for pro yet, but maybe like in a few, two, three, four fights. If I can find opponents, then I'll stay amateur for a while. But I think if we have the same problem after a few fights, we'll definitely be looking at turning pro to actually just find opponents, to be honest. Um, but yeah, I just want to keep growing, really. I've not had the chance to get on a mic and express myself, you know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah.
just need the opportunity, and then I do pretty well at finding opportunities. I'm just, when we move on to the social media, that's another topic which helps with all of that stuff, really. But getting my name out there, I'm already growing. I think people are well aware of who I am around the area, at least. Um, yeah, it's just getting noticed, really. I put myself in the right positions. I'm in the gym every day. I train 2 to 3 times a day, whether that's in the gym or I'm lifting or running. I'm training every day, and that's my lifestyle, really. I eat clean, doing everything I need to do to make it to that next level, you know?
The thing you said about being able to find fights, there's a thing about that as well. Within sports like wrestling, obviously, say you're doing a tournament, you don't necessarily get to choose who you fight. You fight who's next,
Yeah.
right? That's how that works. You're forced to fight. You don't get to cherry pick. Obviously, in MMA, it's a bit different. So
Hmm.
obviously, you're not doing this, but you think the people around you are trying to cherry pick the fight. Say this, they say the next best thing, but they won't fight. Do you think they're cherry picking their styles, trying to get their way up the like pad a little bit? Because I mean, you
Um,
can do that in MMA.
yeah. Well, to be honest, the jungle, I wouldn't say that do that. You know, we have a group of guys that are all working towards the same goal, and they're all dogs. Like they're hard workers. Um, and they don't do that. They're fighting like they're not choosing 0-8 opponents and doing
Oh, I
all
mean
that.
the people that you're wanting to fight is what I meant.
Okay, okay,
Not
sorry.
your gym, not your. That's why I said you don't. You don't.
Oh, it's because you said around me. I thought you meant.
No,
So
no, the local amateurs around you is what I mean. I know your gym on. I meant the people around you that you're trying to
you want
fight.
to you can re-ask the question if you want.
Yeah, no. So, do you think the people that you're unable to get fights with, do you think the reason they're doing that is to pick the styles of fights like you can in MMA? You can pick who you fight, try to get the
Yeah,
styles to match up.
1,000,000%. 1,000,000. That's what it is. They just see the one of the guys that which I get in a fight with just came off a KO. He followed me on Facebook whilst the matchmaker was trying to get me to fight, like get him to fight me. Followed me on Facebook, and then the day after said that he doesn't want to fight. I'm like, you know what I mean? It's just clear to me. The problem is, if I could, I'd delete my social media, but there's too much opportunity in my social media that the way it's growing now to do that just to get a fight. You know what I mean? Someone will fight me eventually. I'm not saying everyone doesn't want to fight me, but the people who we've tried to find a fight with, we've had a problem. You know what I mean?
Well, you can elaborate on the social media thing. I know you wanted to. Now you've said opportunities in social media, so elaborate on that.
Yeah, I think I was stuck at 5K followers for a long time, like since the Commonwealth for 2 years. And I was just like, I've always wanted to grow up. I've tried TikTok, I've tried YouTube, and it was just like I couldn't find that niche. And I never really had I was never really that guy who would put myself out there and be like, yeah, I'll post this. I don't care what anyone thinks. But I think since I've matured, it's just like I don't care what people think. You know what I mean? So I was just like, what can I do to get myself growth? I've always spoke about it. I was always like, I just need to find that niche, what I can do, and then from there it'll go up. And one of my friends, Luke, at the gym at the jungle, he posts content like funny content on Instagram, like MMA content and stuff. And it was like just post a like technique video. So we did one, and it got like it got a lot of views. You know what I mean? Like the first one, it did pretty well. And I was like, all right, we'll do another. So then we just kept doing them and doing them. Like, I just kept putting them out there. And then like we racked up like I think it was over like 2 million views in like 2 months or something. And my followers just went like just started growing and growing and growing. So now I'm at about 9K. I'm just gonna keep so my plan is I'm gonna keep up with the reels for the time being until I want to try and hit by like 15,000. I think once I hit 10,000 followers, then it'll be a lot easier to get to like that 15K mark. But I just want to keep pumping out the reels, and then eventually I want to do some sort of long form content like YouTube or something. But I just have to buy the frigging camera and all that stuff. But you know, like the Tom Aspinall type of thing that he's doing at the moment. A lot of athletes are doing it. Like
It's the way
the
to get your personality out there. That's the thing.
I agree. I think when we get to 10K, I'm gonna release like like something special for people to see, like a bit more of my personality. You know, like these videos that are like uh, they're holding up a sign and like some bodybuilder comes along and tries to take him out. I don't know, something like that. You know, just to try and get my personality out there a little bit, speak to people, and hopefully start building a fan base. I think I'm in a good position as an amateur. You don't find many amateurs with like social media and like not fan base, but you know what I mean, like the heat behind them and stuff like that. So I think in terms of business aspects and like making money in the future, I think I'm heading in the right direction for that stuff. You know what I mean?
So obviously that's the plan for your social media. But what about your name? Your name, getting your name out there. Obviously that includes fighting in general. But have you
Hmm.
got anything you haven't mentioned? Any plans to expand your reach in that sense?
Um, I don't know. I've been told to start calling people out, but uh,
Isn't it? Do you do that in amateurs? I didn't.
no. But the problem is, without getting when I'm not getting fights, it's like you know. But I think we'll get a fight for January 25th. I don't know. I think it's just like the social media, to be honest. I think that's what I'm gonna just grind the social media, post as much as I can, and then start interacting. Like I don't know, just start giving back to people, so that I have people like I can build a fan base that sticks around. You know what I mean? That's what I want to do. And I mean, I would like to get my Commonwealth story out there somewhere. I think someone somewhere would like to hear it, like yourself. You know what I mean? And I think that would be something that would raise awareness to something whilst getting my name out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, this is something I'm curious about. Surely there's a lot more publicity opportunities in America because I feel like when it comes to MMA especially, it's a lot more embedded into America than it is in the UK. It's growing in the UK, like you said, but
Yeah.
it is a lot bigger in the US.
I'm learning. I haven't been home for over a month in the last nearly 3 years now. I'm learning. My support in America is starting to get bigger than my support in the UK. It's
Right.
in the people over here. The culture's different. It might seem like it's hard. It's so hard to explain, but people support each other a lot more in even here in America. If you're posting content, yes, it can be a toxic place, but everywhere can. You know what I mean? But the support over here, the people sooner help you out over here than they will in the UK. You know what I mean?
Do you mean that in just in a sports world, or do you mean that in a general?
Um, I think even in general, but especially in the sports world, like I have a lot more people interacting on my social media and stuff in like America than I do the UK, I feel like. And I don't know what the reason for that is, but it's fine by me, you know what I mean? I think it's a good selling point with me being having the pedigree of wrestling that I have behind me, being a white British male who's like a wrestler in the US starting MMA, you know what I mean? I think I have a good selling point for like promoters and stuff eventually as well, you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
I think
But I think we'll. It's nice having you on. I think we'll leave it there because I mean we've covered literally everything, and we've
yeah,
got 3 minutes to spare as well, so we've done that quite well.